Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. Hope you guys are staying. So, guys, Keith Thurman made a comment about Canelo Alvarez. He wants to see him fight Andrade. Now, listen, there's a lot of Americans in the circuit that really rate Demetrius Andrade, that want to see Canelo fight Demetrius Andrade. To be honest with you, I'm not of the same thought. Like, he's very highly rated in America, and there's a lot of people that want to see him get the Canelo fight. There's a lot of people that think he gives Canelo a lot of issues. I'm not one of those people that is really gunning for that fight or really wants to see it or really, like, I would watch it and it's a good fight and I think Andrade's a good fighter. But I'm not screaming the door. I'm not screaming saying that, oh, I want that fight. Because I think there's fights out there that Canelo can have that are much better for his legacy, that are much harder fights as well. Like the Beterbiev fight would be a much harder fight. And I actually think Beterbiev is a better fighter than Andrade. Again, I think Andrade is very highly rated, probably a little overrated. When you look at his resume and you look at what he's done, he's not really beaten many top tier fighters. And he seems to be very highly rated, beating the guys he's beaten. And to be honest, he's not even looked impressive doing that, beating some of those guys like Liam Williams, for example. Liam Williams is a very good, solid fighter, but everyone in America was rating Andrade levels above Liam Williams. And to be fair, he struggled in that fight. He got hurt, he looked bad. And then when you put Canelo, like Canelo looks absolutely phenomenal against Billy Joe Saunders. He was far better than Liam Williams, by the way. And, you know, people find a way to criticize, but yet Andrade has his fanboys that are, you know, pushing the narrative that Canelo's scared of Andrade, but yet Andrade is looking poor against someone like Liam Williams. Didn't look great. He didn't get a stoppage win, you know, like Canelo did against Billy Joe. And Billy Joe's far better than Williams, like I just said. And for me, Williams, if he had a bit more experience at that kind of level, if he had more, I feel like Liam Williams let the opportunity go by, whereas I think he could have won that fight. I think he could have beat Andrade, but I just feel like he didn't press when he needed to press. He didn't. If he left it all in the ring, I think he would have beat him. I think he would have beat Andrade, because I think Liam Williams' style is a style that gives Andrade trouble. I just think almost Liam Williams kind of lacked a little bit of belief that he can actually win. I actually think that Liam Williams is a good fighter, and I think he can do some certain things at world level. I think he's a good fighter. I rate him. I rated him before the Andrade fight. I just thought he lacked that belief. If he had that belief, I think he could had a good chance to upset Andrade there. But yeah, I thought Liam Williams did a lot better than what people gave him credit for. But let's be honest, we were expecting a lot more from Andrade. You know, he dropped Williams early on and you thought this is going to be a short night. But then Liam Williams got up. And then Liam Williams fought hard and he put it on Andrade. And Andrade didn't look too good. He was hurt multiple times and, you know, he just looked like he was labouring through the fight. Now, I don't see how people can look at that performance. I don't see how you can look at the Liam Williams performance and say that this is a guy that's going to beat Canelo. When Canelo does everything Liam Williams does, but a lot better, punches a lot harder, got better boxing IQ, better footwork. I just don't see how on that performance. I just think Canelo, you know what? You know the reason why I find it kind of weird that people are pushing this, and Thurman saying that, oh, well, he beat me 3 times in the amateurs and he's this and that and the other. I'm not doubting that Andrade's not a talented fighter and not a good fighter. I think it's quite obvious to see he can fight. He's a good fighter. But Canelo's an even better fighter. Canelo's a more rounded fighter. Canelo can do everything. Right? Andrade's not a big puncher. We know that. Right? Canelo's a massive puncher. So, again, going off Billy Joe, right, we've already seen Canelo deal with that kind of style. See, Canelo can really hurt Andrade. Andrade can't hurt Canelo. So again, he's going to have to outbox him for 12 rounds, walk a tightrope for 10 rounds. I just don't see Andrade being able to do that. I don't see anyone being able to do that. Canelo's too smart, too skilled now. You saw early on in that fight against Billy Joe, the way he was throwing body shots. And he'll do exactly the same to Andrade. And from what we've seen so far, Andrade probably doesn't even have the durability of Billy Joe. Billy Joe showed a lot of durability in that fight. But from what we've seen from Andrade doesn't seem to even have that kind of durability. Because if Williams is rocking you, hurting you, what's Canelo going to do? Let's just be real about it. If Liam Williams is hurting you, what's Canelo going to do? Who's far more powerful, who's far better, who's got far better boxing IQ. So I think Andrade, for me, at the minute, is a little overrated. And what I mean by that is that he hasn't really proven that he's as good as what people say he is. He hasn't proven it. You know, maybe Keith Thurman's close with him. I don't know their relationship, but he fought him 3 times and he lost, and he's got got very high on him and thinks he's a great fighter and stuff. Terence Crawford also said that, you know, he avoids slick fighters, and Andrade was one of the guys he mentioned. So these guys obviously rate Andrade very highly. They've obviously seen him from a young age and they rate him very highly. But the thing is, it's like, I don't think these guys understand how good Canelo is. Like, Canelo is unbelievable. He's all rounded. He's got serious punching power. His boxing abilities is unbelievable. I just don't see what Andrade does is that's going to give him trouble. A lot of people say Canelo struggles against slick fighters. Well, we just saw him fight Billy Joe in his last fight, and he absolutely, he battered him. He was winning the fight. He was up on the scorecards prior. And not just that, legitimately, a lot of people say, oh, Canelo gets gift. No, he was winning that fight. And most people had Canelo winning that fight. This is against a slick southpaw, who, if he fought Andrade, would be a 50-50 fight. Now, Andrade, for me, is a little bit more explosive than Billy Joe. He's taller, he's got longer reach, but I just don't think that's going to make any difference. Because we saw in the Liam Williams fight, Liam Williams was able to get to Andrade. Canelo's going to be able to get to Andrade. The only way is like if you were able to shut Canelo out like Mayweather did, and Andrade's not that type. Andrade's not Mayweather. He's not going to be able to shut out Canelo, and Canelo's way better than the Canelo that Mayweather fought. Way better. Even if this version of Canelo would be able to get to that Mayweather, I'm not saying he'd be able to beat that Mayweather, but he'd be able to get to him. He'd be able to land more shots. And like I said, Andrade, for me, isn't defensively as good as Mayweather. He gets hit a lot more. He's a lot more vulnerable. And I think if Canelo was to start walking Andrade down, the pressure is going to tire Andrade out. And he'll wear him out, and then I think he'll knock him out. I don't see Andrade winning that fight. I just don't see it from what angle he's going to win. I think Canelo can outbox him. I think Canelo can knock him out. I just think it's a very, very difficult fight for Andrade stylistically. You know, a lot of people think that style that Andrade's got gives Canelo. I'm telling you the style that Canelo's got. And I said that with the same with Billy Joe. A lot of people were saying Billy Joe has the style to trouble Canelo. And I was telling you, no, Canelo has the style to trouble him. And I was right. And I'm telling you again that Canelo has the style to trouble Andrade, not the other way around. Because Andrade doesn't have anything to keep Canelo off, right? What's going to beat Canelo is not a slick guy that can't punch. What's going to beat Canelo is probably someone that with that style that's a big puncher, which there isn't in around the weight class. But what's going to beat Canelo for me is the physical fighter that's able to make Canelo work 3 minutes of the round. That's a big, strong guy like a Golovkin, big puncher, that's able to push Canelo back, that's able to trouble Canelo, put Canelo on the back foot, put Canelo in uncomfortable positions. When you're a slick fighter, like Saunders wasn't able to put Canelo in uncomfortable positions because he didn't have the punching power. He wasn't able to push Canelo back. Andrade's going to have the same issue. If he couldn't push Liam Williams back and Liam Williams was walking him down for majority of that fight, what chance do you think he has against Canelo to push Canelo back. We've got to be realistic about it. What chances do you think he's got against Canelo to push Canelo back? This is why I find it weird when I look at the two styles and what I've seen Canelo do of late. I just don't see how people think that Andrade beats him. I don't see how Andrade would beat him. I actually think that Canelo would handle him I think he'd stop him. I think it'd be a stoppage. I think Canelo would handle Andrade in quite good fashion as well. And I would expect Canelo to stop him in that fight. See, the guys that, for me, that are going to give Canelo a bit more trouble are guys like Golovkin, Charlo, and Beterbiev. That type of style, for me, has probably got a better chance. And by the way, I wouldn't favour Charlo or Golovkin at all. They'd be underdogs. Beterbiev, for me, 50-50 fight. But those are the type of styles that I think, if I've got any chance against Canelo, those are the styles. Not a slick southpaw that can't punch. Because Canelo now is too good. His feet have improved, they're more educated, and he finds a way to get to those guys. And like I said, both Billy Joe and Andrade, they don't really have the power to keep Canelo off. And that's where the problem is. Canelo just walk him down. But when you've got a big puncher like a Golovkin, like a Beterbiev, even Charlo for that matter, physically strong guys that can put Canelo on the back foot, put him in uncomfortable positions, they have more of a chance. Because like I said, Canelo, when he's in a fight, he does tire and he does like to take breathers, right? So he can lose rounds that way because he takes rounds off. So he can lose rounds. So those guys could potentially outwork him because they're putting a lot of pressure on him. But someone like Billy Joe and Andrade, Canelo's never going to get tired because those guys aren't able to put him on the back foot. Those guys don't really have the punching power. Canelo's fighting at his own pace. See, when he fought Golovkin, Canelo wasn't fighting the fight all at his own pace. Golovkin was forcing it. Golovkin was putting him on the back foot. Golovkin was putting him in uncomfortable positions. So he's tiring him physically, mentally. Right? Canelo's tiring. Problem is with guys like Billy Joe and Andrade, they're not able to exert that same kind of pressure on Canelo because Canelo's not worried about them. He's not worried about their punch power. He's a lot physically stronger than those guys. So this is what I'm trying to say. That style is not going to beat Canelo anymore. For me, the style that's going to beat Canelo is a guy that's physically strong like a Beterbiev. Andrade's style, for me, I don't give that style hardly any chance. You have to give someone a little chance, but that's it. But not much. Not much. And I don't see how people think that Andrade can beat Canelo. I just don't. Just don't. Charlo, a better chance. Better chance. I think he's got a better chin. I think he's stronger. I think he punches harder. And I also think stylistically, styles make fights. I think stylistically, Charlo's is a tougher fight for Canelo than Andrade. At this point in Canelo's career, maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe Andrade would have been a tough fight for Canelo. Maybe stylistically, he may have been way tougher, but Canelo's come on leaps and bounds, and he's shown that he's able to deal with it. And he's also now faced a lot of these slick guys as well. So you learn every time you fight them, and you clearly saw in the last fight against Billy Joe, you clearly saw the improvements. You clearly saw that now Canelo can outbox those guys. He can outbox slick fighters. And then he can finish it emphatically. See, for me, although that he didn't knock Saunders out like he knocked him out cold, for me, that finishing shot, that uppercut, basically was like a knockout because it ended the fight. And I feel like Canelo has that kind of explosive power, which I don't think Andrade has, where he could knock Andrade out. And that's the problem. Those guys have to walk a tightrope because Canelo's not worried about their punching power. But they have to be worried about Canelo's punching power. Canelo's physically very strong as well. So, yeah, I don't think Andrade's style would give Canelo any trouble. Like I said, I give Charlo more of a chance. More of a chance with Canelo than I do Andrade. I don't give Andrade much of a shot at all, to be honest. So I don't know why Keith Thurman and all these give him a very good chance. Maybe because they're friends with him, or maybe because they genuinely rate him. Maybe because Keith Thurman thinks he beat him, so he has a great chance against Canelo. Maybe Keith Thurman thinks his boxing IQ is better than Canelo's. Maybe Keith Thurman thinks he punches hard. Who knows? Who knows? But Canelo Alvarez is a different fighter. I think he would beat Andrade quite comfortably, if I'm honest. And I do think he could do it without even getting into like third or fourth gear. I think he could beat him quite comfortably. But that's my take. Leave your thoughts. Let me know what you think, guys, in the comments section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.